Australia. I'd say we're a sporting nation. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%.
100%. What? I don't have a quiz for you today. I wish I had prepared a little bit more.
You had a whole off
interesting.
season.
Yeah. Well, I do have a question to pose for you. What do you think, like, the general values of Australia are as a sporting nation? Like, I don't know. What do you think we think as, like, our cultural identity? Who do you think we are?
I think we're tough. I'm trying to think of a better word than just try really hard. Resilience.
We don't give up.
I think...
Like, it's all... You're representing your nation, and you do your best no matter what.
Mm.
And I think you're touching at what I'm thinking too, because I mean, all those things, but as well, as a nation, we try pretty much any sport, and take it seriously. Like, there's Australians in all sorts of different sports, just...
You saw the
Finska
Finskaroos. They were popping off a couple of months ago.
The Finskaroos? I vaguely remember that. Can I remember what Finska is? No, but...
It's like backyard game where you got all the wooden pegs and then you throw a wooden peg and you hit the other wooden peg.
That's right. The one where, like...
they got a number on the
video
peg.
where the guy
Yeah.
wraps it around. Fantastic video, that. We should put that on the story.
Socials.
Yeah. Well, today we are going to be telling the story of an Australian who I think everyone will agree, like, doesn't need much of an introduction. You don't say that very often, but he embodies all these values of Australian sport. It's me, Colin. No, today we are telling the story of Steven Bradbury.
Hello and welcome back to the Wild World of Sport, the podcast that goes on a journey to try and find the wildest story from the world of sport.
We already found it. Season 1. Wilma Rudolph. We're done, right?
Well, what's the point of then? Should we go home?
Yeah. It's done. Job done. We found it. Okay, I guess we'll tell a few more. And if we can beat it, we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll do season 2. Well, we did 21, so then we've got to do 20 more seasons so we can have 21 winners, and then we can battle off
Like
the
a
21.
Champions League,
Yeah.
I like it.
Really go through it.
So 20 more seasons. All right.
At minimum,
It's like the Rick and Morty
21.
thing. It's like
So we get 10 weeks off a year.
Wild
we
World
can
of
get it done
Sport.
in 10 years.
Wild World of Sport forever. 20 more seasons. Wild World of Sport.
Never ending. Yes, this is Wild World of Sport. If this is your first episode, I normally say go back and start again. You might not have to for this season because we're resetting our board. But for the sake of hearing fantastic stories, you should go back to the start of wherever you're listening. And while you're there, make sure you drop a 5-star review and tell how many people? 3, 4, 12?
What are those old copy pastas? Isn't it 5 people or the bad thing is going to happen to you?
Oh, yeah. It's like share this to 10 of your friends or like it'll happen to you as well.
Yeah, this story of my cat was found inside the toaster, and then when I made my toast, it screamed at me. If you don't want this to happen
What's
to you,
that?
send it to 5 people on Facebook.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that'll
fair
happen to you if you don't share this podcast with 5 other people. And make sure you also check out all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Wild World of Sport Pod. Added a little pod on the end to get the SEO up a little bit more.
To distinguish us from our other forms of media.
Oh, exactly. My name is James Wybrow.
I'm James's brother Ben, no relation.
And I'm Colin Sheaves. Hello?
What we're talking about, like the socials, are we pro-parasocial relationships with like the audience? Is it okay if our audience thinks they're our friends?
That's
Yeah.
like an interesting... I don't know. Is that controversial? Like, yes. Why would we not want to have a parasocial relationship with our audience? Is that a bad thing?
I think, well, as long as it's friends the way I think of friends, because as long as they're not stalking us. I don't want my friends stalking me either.
It'd be nice to have a stalker. I'd feel like a bit important.
I think that's something you say when you don't have a stalker.
Yeah.
When you have a stalker, you're like, I don't want this. I don't think anyone wants a stalker.
Listener, if you're out there and you're thinking, I want to stalk one of these guys, Carlin's put his hand up. He lives at beep.
Redacted.
Cut that. But once again, we are back, and To All My Friends Bar has jumped back on for sponsorship with us. We're drinking some delicious beers from them while we tell this story.
Got a Queens of Chaos skinny dip pineapple and hibiscus sour. Really good. They got all sorts of wonderful beers. Head down to All My Friends and Cook. Get something from their fridge. It's great.
All right, let's get this story from you, Carlin. Steven Bradbury.
So, I mean, what? Yeah, what? I might like. I'm the storyteller. What am I? Like the. We've done race marshal before and stuff. I'm the Olympic committee member, perhaps.
The story skater?
The timekeeper.
I don't know, but we're on thin ice here. We should keep it going. All right, no more of that. So, like I alluded to before, obviously Steven Bradbury is a pretty iconic figure in Australian sort of culture. I guess like this isn't much of a spoiler because if people know about this, but we'll learn about it in the story. There's a saying, doing a Bradbury from his accomplishments. He's got a fascinating life though that I didn't know the full story. I knew bits and pieces. Like obviously we've all heard the story before, most of us.
I think Olympians are in a different sort of zone to other athletes in Australia because we don't, well, maybe it's just me, we don't really think about them outside of that Olympic window. And then once they've come and gone, you don't really think about them again. They tend to
I don't
get
think
out of the
about Michael
limelight.
Phelps every day of the week, but the Olympics is on and you're looking at the swimming and, you think about him. But yeah, I feel like, there's the downtime where they're just training for 4 years.
And I think because, like, the Olympics, I think we hold our Olympians to, like, the highest standard of our athletes. There's not many Olympians who have controversial scandals come out about them. Like, I'm just trying to think, NRL players, AFL players, all the time something controversial is happening.
I suppose. You get the odd doping charge and whatnot. Thankfully, Steven Bradbury, not one of those people who has had any kind of
I was
bad
hoping you weren't going to
controversy.
ruin this story for me.
No, it's only good stuff. Only good stuff about this man. He's an Australian hero, and we shall learn why by going back to the very, very beginning. So, his dad was a speed skater. Makes sense. That's where he gets it from. When he was 3 years old, his dad chucked a pair of like normal skates on. So there's a difference between what the speed skates, like the skates they use for speed skating, and normal
Yeah, you get
skates.
longer blades for
Yeah.
speed skating and sharper as well.
Yeah, so you can get more momentum and everything.
Less like
But yeah,
friction on the ground.
It is. They are sharper, and it's like quite dangerous. But yes, so 3 years old, he hated it, and he almost never went on the ice again because of it. Hated it as a kid, but when he was 8 years old, his dad put his first pair of speed skates on Steven. So then he had to go on the ice when he was 8 with the actual speed skates, and he was like, you know what? This ain't so bad.
I'm so much quicker than everyone else.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think because he mentioned he was watching his like dad, and so he just kind of watched on and went, you know what, actually looks fun to like zoom around on skates, and he's changed his mind on it because his dad was a national champion in speed skating, and he mentions as well that it's like it's a bit unfortunate. Speed skating's not that huge of a sport. It's a little bit niche. And back then, when he was growing up, his dad was competing. Like he was a national champion, but there wasn't really an international competition of note, really.
I'm doubting there was even a national competition of note, really.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. The competition wasn't too crazy. We'll get to that in a second. Like his dad forced him every morning before school to run 5 kilometers, which he said has obviously massively helped him, and he thanks his dad for now, but he hated that at the time.
There's a real fine line between trying to coach your kid and then just
Project
torturing
Mbappe.
them. Yeah.
I think that's reasonable though to do 5K run every day. Like when he's 3, probably not good, but he's in his teenage years, and I think probably everyone would be a lot fitter and healthier if everyone went for a 5K run every morning.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, very good.
I wouldn't call that like an abusive thing.
Yeah, he just didn't like it, but
I mean, making your kid do something they don't like.
Yeah, making like play a sport you don't want, which like he's kind of making him do speed skating. It's like let him be his own man, but he is being his own man. He doesn't think he isn't quoted saying his dad forced him into any of this. He watched him and he went, you know what, like that's pretty cool what dad's doing. I'm gonna do it too. So he's doing it as a child, and when he was 14, they were just about to move to Queensland. So he was living in New South Wales, and he was mentioned at the time when he was in New South Wales, there was actually a surprisingly large scene for the sport of speed skating. So it's like not like hugest thing ever, but he was ranked 11th as a 14-year-old in New South Wales in the state.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good, but realistically, there's not many.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm thinking
there's
what's it
not
out
many
of probably
more.
100, 150
But even
kids?
so, that's not in his age group. That's overall, isn't it? I'm thinking
He didn't mention. He was saying this in an interview. I would assume it'd be overall, but for like kids.
Under 18s, maybe,
Yeah,
or something.
sort of thing. Like, he's like the 11th best kid.
And then moving
like,
to
prospect or
Queensland.
something.
Queensland's very famous for its ice.
Yeah. So he moved to Queensland, and he was instantly the best in the state because there was no one there really, except for
By default.
there was a speed skater he met there. So Richard Nizelski, that he met up in Queensland.
I'll be honest, my speed skating knowledge starts and ends at Steven Bradbury. I couldn't name another one.
Well, this guy's a little bit like the
Bradbury Senior.
All right.
yeah, obviously he was a national champion.
What was his first name?
Dad. Okay.
Do you have his name?
Yeah, his dad. Like
no,
the
to be
Fairly
honest,
Odd Parents.
because his dad doesn't.
I'm thinking
his dad sort of
Scott
leaves the
or
story
something.
after this.
Scott Bradbury. Yeah.
I feel
I
like
could
that
look
could
it
work.
up, and we can insert it in. Sound really smart, but can't be bothered. Not too important. But Richard Nizelski sort of is. So together they would inspire others and slowly sort of attract other speed skaters to come move to Queensland and do speed skating up in Queensland.
I'm just imagining a little cardboard box with just how do you entice a speed skater? Lycra outfits and long blades.
Yeah, it's like cycling, but even weirder. Like you got like weird helmets and
Yep.
everything.
If you move here, you're automatically the second best in the state.
I was going to say, at least it's not like cyclists get in the way a lot when you're driving. But it's also like, we've all been to like an ice rink to skate around. You skate around in a circle, and there's the speed skaters or figure skaters in the middle that are just going crazy. And we live in a culture in Australia where you don't really learn to skate, play hockey or anything, or do figure skating really as a major sport.
Yeah, I feel like Canadian immigrants often that are like all playing ice hockey and whatnot that are doing the skating.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like going down the rink, you know, you're 8 years old, you're just holding onto the boards, going around, and then you've got this Steven Bradbury kid who's just on longer skates, just zooming around.
He's never
his
needed
dad's
that
watching him.
penguin thing.
Yeah, never need the penguin.
Probably not.
that
If
is
he's
one-
learning from 8.
Like my ice skating experience, I've been in print news media twice for
speed skating?
For ice skating.
Just ice skating.
Twice. I've appeared in the newspapers
like
twice in two different
competition,
countries.
or you just like were having fun?
He was in the background of some photos.
No, there was a photo of me with the little penguin to help me stand up in Canberra, and then when I was in Canada, got one because we were skating around this track. Just they set up like a footpath. They just pour the water on it, turn it into a nice rink, and you just go around like a footpath kind of track.
Do you have the photos for us to put up at Wild World of Sport Pod?
I can, yeah, get those photos.
All right, well, that's where you can find those photos. Let us know how good you think Ben looks in them.
Terrible. I look awful.
This is just reminding me of like a anecdotal story of like when I got on. It wasn't news, but there was like a mini documentary with my primary school when I was a kid, and it's funny because like the narrator guy is like talking to like the interview guy is like talking to the principal, and our principal like is talking. He's like, oh yeah, these are the things we're tackling stuff. But he says like year 6 boys. Like with reading difficulties, and then it cuts to me and with like my year 6 shirt, and I'm just like doing stuff, and I'm like, hey, I don't have reading difficulties. But it's always funny when I think about that.
That's hilarious.
That's good
You
too.
didn't know you had reading difficulties.
Yeah. I'm going to try and read my notes now, but it's hard.
He's the only one here with glasses on.
That's true. That makes me really smart. Which I'm so smart, I know all these facts. Like, what sport is Steven Bradbury actually doing? Do you know what it is?
Speed skating?
Yeah, but it's specific type of speed skating.
Oh, is
It's
it?
a sprint, isn't it? Like a 1 kilometer or something?
Pretty much. So it's short track speed skating. So there's other forms of speed skating, but effectively the one that he does, which, I mean, you've seen the video and whatnot, it's like a tight, circular, ovally arena. So, like Stephen was explaining it in an interview, but it's quite dangerous, and as well, like you're getting up to really high speed. So you get up to about 54 kilometers an hour. It's actually the fastest non-mechanically assisted sport in the world.
Wow.
Because I guess bikes have gears and stuff, and I don't know. But this is what Steven Bradbury said. I didn't.
Well, I guess it
It
depends
doesn't
what you mean
sound
by
right, but I'm trying to think of
I'm
something
thinking
else.
alpine skiing.
I was thinking that
You're
too when
going
they're going
straight
down the
down.
big slope, and I was like,
But is that
does that
count
count
as an advantage? Because I know there's like speed skiing where it's just
I
trying to
think
get a maximum speed.
This is how, because that's the one I thought of too. I was like, yeah, going down like a ski slope, doing a jump or whatever. Surely you reach over 54 like kilometers an hour.
But you're not personally
Yeah, I guess
getting that
gravity's
speed.
doing
It's-
it. But yeah, but then in a way you could say, well, aren't the skates that they're using? Yeah, you're using your own power, but don't the skates give you some kind of mechanical advantage?
I guess, yeah. It's the skates are amplifying your effort, but then you could say the same thing about a bike or anything gear ratio then assists you.
The only
more.
thing I think is, yeah, gears, like gear and gear ratios and stuff genuinely like make it easier.
Maybe it's speed skating HQ. They're like, oh, we need something cool that we can say our sport is like the best at.
On
What
a
is it?
level playing field, as in no hills or anything, we're the fastest sport without including mechanical advantages.
Yeah, they put a little asterisk. No mechanical advantages, no downhill, no gravity.
We're the fastest above ice sport.
Skydiving, you get terminal velocity, like you're not getting quicker than that.
Yeah, but you would not skydive into ice, so this ice-related sports. Okay. Anyway, it is quite dangerous when they're going this speed. So whether it is the fastest or not, similar to cycling, like they'll sort of congregate in packs because you like get a benefit from slipstreaming behind people because of how fast you're going, just like in cycling. Yes. Your hand up over there.
Is there like you got a murderer crows or a pack of lions? What's a group of speed skaters called?
I don't know, man. What would you call a group of speed skaters?
A Zamboni of
A
speed
Zamboni.
skaters.
that's
speed
good.
skater. I like that. A
carve?
no, flake could be like no. Yeah, carve. A wisp. No. A blade. I like that.
Ooh, a blade of speed
A blade of
skaters.
speed skaters.
Yeah, all right. Speed skating, hit us up.
Yeah, you can take that one for free.
No, what?
Next time you pay
No.
Just as long as they plug
don't
the
need a
podcast.
next one. They don't need a next one.
Well, clearly they need to talk about how it's the fastest on ice. No, so they need a lot. They need a lot of help. Crashes are pretty common. So yeah, they're in the packs. You're going really fast.
Subtle foreshadowing.
Yeah, but it's quite dangerous. So early achievements. Steven Bradbury, when he was only 17, would go to a world championship in Sydney. So this is one of the first world championships of its kind of like speed skating. And Australia wasn't really like, they weren't like, super favorites or anything. It's like Australia we're talking about.
But they still picked us to host it.
Yes.
We've got great infrastructure.
We do have a lot of great sporting infrastructure. I'm just thinking, okay, he's going to be traveling to Czechoslovakia. He's going to be in Finland.
Yeah,
doing
no,
speed
I think it
skating.
was 1991, I believe, and it's like, yep, they just anyway, it is what it is. They competed in the 5,000 meter speed skating relay so Steven Bradbury was on the team, and he also had teammates Richard Nozelski again, Andrew Murtha, and Kieran Hansen. Those are big names in the speed skating community, I'm told, but. I suppose
They're the Mount Rushmore of Australian speed skaters.
Well, I was thinking like before, it's like they're the Buzz Aldrin sort of thing. It's like, they're huge. They won on the moon as well, but not quite. Like no one remembers.
Real ones know.
But yes, they won. They won the 5,000 meter speed skating relay in these world championships and became the world best speed skating team. Like the favorites. So in the 1992 Albertville Winter Olympics, they finally added speed skating to the Olympics, and Steven would be selected for the Winter Olympics team, and he'd go. And Australia was favourite to win the gold medal at the 1992 Albertville Winter Olympics. Can you believe that?
I don't. I can't believe that.
I can't believe I've never heard of it before.
Only
You'd think-
3 teams that were like, oh, these guys have a chance is Australia, Canada, shout out, and South Korea. So out of those three teams, they're like, one of these teams is going to win the gold medal, probably Australia.
I think if you were telling someone that and you go, oh yeah, one of the teams was Austria, of course, Australia.
Yeah, they just screwed up.
Yeah.
They're like, they're still getting Australia and Austria mixed up. Because that would make a lot of sense. I would expect someone from Austria to be good at speed skating. And Australia, apparently. In the semi-finals of this 1992 Albertville Winter Olympics, unfortunately, Steven was a little bit unfit at the time. So he's basically been benched.
Stopped running those 5Ks.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
As soon
I
as
don't know
you're
what was
doing it
up.
in a relay with three other people, he was doing 1.25k runs.
Well, it was quite competitive. So I guess because of the shock of them winning that world championship before, which like Steven was a part of, it got these other like races that were in the scene. Like the competition was huge. Like, oh, we're actually like the best in the world. So there was a bunch of Australians fighting for this spot. Steven actually was basically benched, so he didn't get to race in the semi-finals. And unfortunately, like I was mentioning before, there was a crash in the semi-finals. Richard Nozelski clipped something and spun out, and so did their chances of winning a medal. All gone. They didn't qualify through the semi-finals. So they went on to then... Now, this is the confusing bit. They competed again they were trying to compete in the 1994 Lillehammer Winter Olympics. You might notice that's 2 years after.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what's up with that. Steven Bradbury did sort of explain this briefly in an interview. He was saying something along the lines of like, just countries couldn't afford to like send teams.
They had the Olympics, the Summer and Winter Olympics used to happen concurrently, so on the same
Maybe that's
year.
when they swapped it.
And then they decided to swap it so that they did
like 2 years off.
Yeah, so they went like 2 years summer, 2 years winter.
There we go.
And so then the Winter Olympics happened a bit quicker.
So, yes, there we go. Because the 1994, 2 years after, the next one does happen in 1998. So they just switch it up at that stage. So to get into the 1994 one, the whole team just needed to qualify by being one of, like, ranked, like kind of like how the cricket World Cup thing, like for Test cricket works, how it's like you verse each other, but it's just like a ranked leaderboard sort of thing. So they have a ranked leaderboard for like the speed skating teams, and you just need to be in the top 8 to be able to go to the Olympics. So
very similar to like ice hockey for the upcoming Winter Olympics.
Well, there you go.
It's the top class nations, so the only ones allowed to qualify.
And easy enough for them. They were like, Australia was doing quite well at it at the time. They qualified. So they would go on at this Olympics to do the unthinkable. So they got through the semi-finals, qualified for the finals this time, but unfortunately, Steven Bradbury was in the team this time. Important to note. So I'm not exactly sure who got chopped. Richard Nozelski was still there. Together, they were able to make it to the finals, and then in the finals, they didn't quite put through enough of an effort, but they got a bronze, which was the first medal, period, Winter Olympic medal, for not just Australia, but any country from the Southern Hemisphere. So it's the first time anyone from the Southern Hemisphere has won a Winter Olympic medal, was the bronze in Lillehammer, 1994.
Wow. I'm just trying to think of other Southern Hemisphere countries.
I was thinking that too, and I'm like, because they mentioned as well South Korea is one of the favorites. I guess my geography's bad here. I'm assuming that's just above like the equator. Like, I'm thinking, where does it cut through?
Yeah, it's above. I was thinking New Zealand. I thought they'd have a decent chance. They've got a lot more snow than us.
Yeah,
they haven't had the same
less
historic investment into their sporting culture though.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning at the start, as Australians, we kind of just do any sport, but in New Zealand, they're very particular about the sports they choose, I feel.
And there's not many wealthy, first world countries in the Southern Hemisphere outside of Australia. New Zealand, by association with us. But you've got Africa, you've got South America, and you've got Southeast Asia.
Yeah, and I can't imagine a lot of South America. Like, you wouldn't imagine Australia's that good at winter sports. But
and then but we have the infrastructure to be able to facilitate winter sports. You go to Argentina, Peru.
And what sort of snow are you getting in South America? Because they've got really high mountains,
Mountains,
but the
yeah.
altitude there is too high to be really competing in anything.
Especially speed skating when it needs to be flat because you can't have a mechanical advantage.
Yeah.
To progress our story, we've just won a bronze medal. Pretty huge achievement. Steven Bradbury was in the team. He's feeling pretty good. Like, he's training pretty hard. But in a way, you could say he's already eclipsed the achievements of his dad. But
And as soon as he wins a medal, he has, or winning an
Going
international.
to the Olympics?
I guess, but it just the opportunity wasn't there. But it's like, so anyway, so it feels a bit cheap to say, but realistically, yes, he has. And now it's an Olympic sport and everything, and it's all kind of because of him and Richard Nozelski. So very impressive. And later that same year, 1994, he would go to another World Championships. This time in a country that makes a lot more sense.
Greece.
No, Canada. So it was in Montreal. Yeah, 1994 World Champs, where he got into a horrific crash. So there were two Canadian speed skaters ahead of him on one of the turns, and they slipped over. And like you were mentioning before, those speed skates are very sharp.
You want the least amount of contact with the ice, and the way that they work is they're melting the ice on contact, so there's a bead of water that's in between the skate and the ice, and that's what allows them to glide over it without having like a huge friction buildup. And they are so sharp.
Deadly, some might say. Which, apparently, if it was like Bill Fong sort of thing, it's like if it was slightly off to like a centimetre one way, he would have chopped an artery that would have made him bleed out in 30 seconds. He would have been dead. And he very nearly did die anyway.
Sorry, where was he hit?
So he got hit in the thigh, and he didn't get sliced, he got impaled. He got, a speed skate straight into the thigh. So it really, really damaged his quads. Yeah,
I remember seeing the
horrific.
photo of like after all the stitches, it was like a billion.
It was something like
stitches he
110
needed, yeah.
stitches, I think, when I was researching it.
I remember seeing the photo, and it's like, from memory, it's like greeny, like black over where the stitches are, and the whole leg is purple with like the bruising and the trauma of it.
This is hurting me to think about.
Do we want to put these photos on the socials, or is this going to upset people?
I think I'll leave the photos off of this.
You can go look these ones up. Just trust that it was very bad. And a little bit like Dick Routard, Stephen had a bit of a moment where he was like about to pass out, but he said to himself, if I fall asleep right now, I'm going to die. So he just locked in. He stayed awake until they got him to the hospital, stitched him up. And for 18 months, he would be recovering, and he couldn't play sport and train. But 18 months later would make more or less a full recovery. So he said he never fully regained his explosive power. He thinks he got even stronger than he was before because he's trained so hard to get back. He's done such an effort that he reckons he's actually stronger than before. But just that explosive power that you need as a speed skater, he thinks he's irreversibly lost.
Plus a little bit of age as well.
Well, so at this stage, what's the maths on that? If he was 17 in the 92 one, then so he's like 19-ish, something around that. So in Steven's words, he had too much unfinished business to quit skating. So he decided, I'm still in it, and I'm going to keep training to go to 1998 Nagano Winter Olympics. Steven qualified, he got back, but after that Olympics, he kind of did so abysmally. Like he talked about, it's like I didn't race well. I don't like thinking about that Olympics, but he didn't give up. Straight away, he went, we're going again. And so he started training again after the 1998 Nagano Winter Olympics, which he did pretty bad for the next 4 years, leading up to 2002 Salt Lake City. During the training for this next Olympics, after his 1998 blunder in 2000. So because the other thing is crazy is the periods like we were talking about that these guys train over. It is insane. 2 years later, and he's still training for another 2 years.
And the way that they taper on and off for how they want to hit their peak at the exact right time. Think about trying to do that through the week for if you're a week-to-week footballer or something like that. then do it on a 4-year cycle.
We've also got to like qualify for the Olympics. Some sports, then you're doing national championships, international championships, getting enough competition points to then be in the top ranks to then even be allowed to qualify. So it could be an annual. He's traveling internationally to the World Championship to do well enough for it. But yeah, setting your goal for 4 years down the line.
And this is just who he was. He trained hard, literally, like, hardest motherfucker, gotta say. Because he was quoted saying too, actually, it's just quite interesting. He's like, oh, it was actually easy, the training. Like, I needed help from people to tell me to stop training. Like that's what he says. So.
His dad's like, where was this when I was making you run those 5Ks?
Yeah. So in 2000, while training for Salt Lake City, this one's not actually in a competition like the World Champs where he got impaled. Steven crashed and completely broke his neck.
Oh, what?
So he got screwed in what's called a halo brace.
Oh, they're the ones that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we can put
Regina
this.
George.
I was just going to say
like
Mean
Regina
Girls.
George.
Mean Girls.
Yeah, so screwed in because he's totally broken his neck.
Oh.
He got told by the doctor that screwed the halo brace into his like neck and head.
I remember
Sounds
watching you in the
horrific.
92.
Yeah, what happened, mate?
No, he said, yeah, your career is over. You will never skate again. And
Should have found Bill Fong's doctor.
Steven said, screw that. And then he fired
guy
that
said,
doctor and
"No,
he
I've
went
done."
to a different doctor who said he could race. So, classic Steven. But yeah, he basically decided to keep training however he could. So he wasn't able to skate at all with the brace on. Like, he just wouldn't be able to see where he's going and stuff. It didn't have the mobility. So what he would do instead is he'd hit the gym every single day. He could lift weights, and he could, like, on the stationary bike. Is that what you call it? Stationary bike? Yeah. Anyway, spin bike. He'd go on that every single day, just for hours, and, like, get his cardio in. That's all he could do. Even his own mother was telling him, like, you got to give this up. It's over. Like, you got to quit. But Steven said, no, I won't do it. I'm going to the 2002 Salt Lake City Winter Olympics. And shockingly, only like 3 months later, after having like the halo brace screwed in and stuff, gets it off and gets back to skating. I know,
3
right?
months. How long are you supposed to wear that for?
Well, I guess like because breaking your neck, obviously not good,
Obviously. Yeah.
but it's like 18 months to recover from getting absolutely stabbed and almost bleeding out. That kind of seems fair. And I guess he was training for part of that, but he obviously wasn't able to compete properly until.
I guess it also depends on like the exact location of the break, and then if he's just in the halo brace, it means it didn't mess up, his nervous system going down to then go make him paralyzed or anything that he had to then relearn how to walk or operate, at least not to an extreme degree. But yeah, I feel like you probably want to take a little bit more time off. I'm just thinking those bolts screwed into your skull, screwed into your neck, and then it's like, well, no, I'm going to be exercising your body, you get inflammation and things, and you've got these metal bolts in your head. That'd just be so painful. It's like, imagine getting your braces tightened and then your body's just like you're being screwed.
It's like braces, yeah, but like
they get tighter and then they hurt. It's you're exercising, you're getting hot, cold, inflammation, having, hypertrophy of your muscles, atrophy of other muscles, and like the contraction, expansion of your body. Just
Sorry, what
painful.
did you just say?
Hypertrophy?
Hypertrophy.
Nah, same fuck. Hypertrophy.
Hypertrophy.
It's like
Hypertrophy.
hyperbole.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he kept persisting, and he qualified for the Australian team and went to the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. But like we were saying, he's kind of at the twilight of his career now. So he was.
Was he the flag bearer for that Olympics?
They don't have that fact. We can look it up. I think he's like 27. I wrote it down. He's 27 or 28. Yeah, is 28. He makes it to the Olympics, but he's in the twilight of his career. He himself just sort of doesn't think he's going to get very far, but he wanted to go compete because it's who he is.
Well, making the Olympics is a...
Yeah, that was his...
Probably 99.9% of people, it's an achievement.
That was his goal, pretty much. Was like, we're going to make it. And in the quarterfinal, in fact, another one of his goals, like, because he's had stepping stones. So, again, in the speed skating community, we'll probably know this name, I haven't heard of it until now. In the quarterfinals, he beats notable Canadian Marc. I'm going to say it wrong because it's like Frenchy. It's like Gagnon. Anyway, he beats him. Which
New season, Sam Carlin.
He mentioned, I know because he said it in an interview too, but it's just French. I can't pronounce the French stuff. He hadn't beaten him in 8 years, so he was like, yeah, I've done it.
To be fair, in that 8 years, he was impaled and broke his neck.
So, you know, like, he's feeling pretty good. He's gone through the quarterfinals, he's done this, like, I've done it, I've achieved it. In the semis, he skated well and was in the mix, but ultimately he was left at the back of the pack, and he was at the very last corner in last place, and then 3 skaters in front of them lost their footing, and he managed to win the semi-finals, which he thought, okay, that's insane. Went on to the finals, looked at the other names that have qualified for the finals, which I need to get one of the names there. It's like the person who's the favorite to win the medal. It's an American, Apollo Ono.
It's a cool name.
O-H-N-O.
Oh,
Some great foreshadowing of a name. Anyway.
I feel like he didn't put enough emphasis on this semi-final. Like, that was...
Okay, yeah. Well, it was shocking. But, like, you know, it was a complete, you know, fluke. He's riding along, and then just 3 people fell over in front of him, and he skated through. Like,
well, I think the real thing, I don't know how much emphasis you're going to put on it, so I might have ruined it. But I don't know if anyone listening doesn't know the story of Steven Bradbury.
I think some people might not.
Well, for those people, then I'll let you...
We'll carry on. So he gets to the finals and he's looking at these names like Apollo Ono, and he's going, oh no, like I'm not beating these guys. He says to his coach, like his coach was like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. Just do the same thing you did in the semifinals, you know, like stick behind the pack, see how you go. Might get lucky. Clean. We could get a bronze. So
slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
He goes into the finals. Yeah. Going, okay, like this is amazing. I've fluked my way to the finals. How are we going to go? And it's getting towards the last lap. He's in 5th place, which is last, and he's feeling like it's all over. Then one of the racer in 4th trips over, and so he shuffles up to 4th place, and he's going, well, still not a medal.
One more and I can get a medal. One more.
He actually wasn't that hopeful. So he was thinking, look, it's 4th, might as well be 5th. I'm not getting a medal. He was still bummed out. So he's skating along, and like I was mentioning with the slipstream, so he was talking about how about more than 3 meters behind, you start losing the slipstream, like basically no effect. So the starting gun went, he was with the pack, but he was like 3 meters behind, and then 10 meters behind, and this is a lot in speed skating. So he's fallen behind. He doesn't have a slipstream anymore. He's at the back to back. This guy falls over. Fantastic. He's kind of back in the race. He's up there in 4th place. He's skating along. On the final corner, a Chinese skater in 2nd place would try and make a push into 1st and slip, lock skates and tangle up with the other 2 at the front. All 3 would lose their footing and slip out on the ice. Steven looked ahead in awe. He stopped skating. He stood up. He put his arms out, and he just crossed the finish line and entered the history books. He literally just didn't even try. He's like, holy shit. I've just... Like, he didn't believe in himself, and actually the aftermath, so he didn't celebrate yet. The crowd was booing because, like I mentioned, Apollo Ono was the favorite to win this gold medal, and he was an American. So this is in Salt Lake City, which is in America, and the whole crowd is like in an uproar because this Chinese skater, he was one of the ones at the lead. The Chinese skater knocks him. Technically should have disqualified the Chinese skater, and Apollo Ono would have been given the benefit and like basically given the gold medal because of how it worked. However, after like the race had finished and they're looking around to see what's happened, like Steven's like, I cannot believe what's just happened. They're probably not going to give me the medal. I don't know, because it's like they'll be disqualified, not sure. But because if you watch the video, it happens so close to the finish line and they all scramble over the finish line. And in the rule books, basically, if they've crossed the finish line, then the race is final.
Yeah, because I remember like we've all seen the video of it. You have one of the Chinese
If you
skaters
haven't, I'll put it up on Wild World of Sport.
kind of
pod.
like dives, slide tackles in and
they,
starfishes across the
scramble
line to then.
I feel
try
for
and get
the
behind.
the fourth, or like, you're the person that came fourth in that pack of three. Because, like, you know, Steven goes over and then there was someone that was closest that goes and the next person jumps across and the fourth person just got spun out so far that they had no chance to medal.
Yeah, because they've got like the bumpers at the end and you just go sliding completely out. And like the technique they do with like one hand, like grazing the ground as go around the corners. I always just think you're going to get all your fingers sliced off.
It looks pretty slick.
So, yeah, basically because they all scrambled across the finishing line in the rule box, that is deemed the race is finished, so no disqualification can like happen,
So
apparently.
if only one other did,
I guess.
or is it
because if it was like a did not finish, I don't know because I
Yeah.
don't have an example of how it would play out. But Stephen was saying in an interview that that's how the rules should have worked, but because they had finished the
I
race,
guess if no one finishes, it happens on the second to last corner and everyone's half
Yeah.
a lap away.
then it's like, yeah, you got to do something. But anyway, it counts. And he looks up and he sees the Australian flag appear in the first place spot on the board. And that was it. He had won, for Australia and the Southern Hemisphere, the first ever Winter Olympics gold medal. So,
Pretty
there's
amazing.
more.
I watched the whole race a couple of weeks ago because it just popped up because in Australia, Stan is the streaming service that's hosting the Winter Olympics. And so they had clips of all these iconic Australian Winter Olympics moments. And there was the full race. I just sat there in awe watching it, knowing what's going to happen. It was awesome. But the fact that he did the exact same thing in the semi-finals, like, because a lot of people might not think of the semis when they think of this story as, oh yeah, everyone fell over, ha ha ha. But it happened literally the race right before as well.
Back to back.
Realistically, that was kind of his strat. Was like, look, it's going to be competitive. But
He got it off.
Diocles.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just did the Diocles thing.
he did, yeah. Actually, that's true because it's like crashes are
Because
common.
I think
so-
he also said in that story he was kind of like Steven Bradbury. He just stayed at the back.
Well, there we go. I was actually alluding to season 2. So Stephen, like after that, did move on and had an interesting life.
I remember him copying. I remember there was an interview where he was interviewed by saying like, "How do you feel that you're not the best in the world and you still win the gold medal?" And he swore at the reporter and went,
Yeah, it's
I've
ridiculous.
I've put like 20 years of my life into this training every day. I've worked just as hard as anyone else. I'm better than everyone else. I've got the gold medal." Like that's all it is.
Realistically, too, it's like we looked at. There was a time where he was ranked as one of the best speed skaters in the entire world. And at this stage, he's like 28. You can't, like, just because, like Leo Messi, is he, like, the best he's ever been? No, but then he wins, like, the World Cup. You're not going to say it's, like, a sham because, I don't know, it was, like, too easy for them. They got easy matches or something. They had to verse Australia. That's, right?
You don't just walk into the Olympics as a amateur or a nobody and then win.
And go through and obviously they fell in the semis, but it's like, this is what he did. He's a world champion at it. So I do think it's ridiculous for people to say it's like,
Yeah, I'm glad that in both the semi-finals and the final, there wasn't like a major injury in the crashes because I think that would kind of taint the story.
celebrating
If,
someone being hurt.
Apollo Ono then got impaled by a skate like Bradbury did. That then kind of taints the story of everyone just slipped. It's, there was this massive crash and someone almost died and the guy who was in dead last won the race. That wouldn't be the story of it.
I think it adds to it that it happened in the semi-finals too, though, and it's just
100%.
it's just iconic, like Australian story now, though, of like you're saying, of like how we see our national days. I think like never give up. Like you can like they'll just try until the end. He went on after that, so he did retire from speed skating. After that, he did some commentating. At the
Finish on
Olympics.
top.
Yeah, well, he was going to really realistically retire then anyway. He knew he was pushing his limits. People like doctors were telling him not to do it. And he did it anyway. Gold medal, baby. He's a motivational speaker now. That's what his job is. So he makes money going around, like giving speeches and stuff. Fair enough. Like you got a lot to motivate people with your story. And in 2022, there's a news article. He saved 4 teenage girls from drowning.
I remember this.
At the beach in Queensland. So he noticed like a change in the rep and waves started to swell up to 2 meters. And there were these girls that were swimming out of like the flagged area. So he sent his son Flynn. He's like, go get a lifeguard like now. But he's like, nah, they're not going to make it. So like he went out and like rescued them himself. By the time like he rescued like one, and then by the time he was getting to the other three, the lifeguards are starting to get out there because his son had gone to get him. But if he hadn't rescued them when he did, like one of the girls was given oxygen on the beach and pretty much resuscitated, and she claims that she would have been dead if he hadn't gotten to her in time. So yeah, that just an incredible life for an incredible, incredible man.
We're about to get to the ranking on our wild and mild board. We're keeping it for season 2. It's still just as scientific as ever, even more scientific this season. But where does Steven Bradbury's moment for you to rank in Australia's Olympic moments? Like, is it the greatest Olympic
It's the
moment?
greatest Winter Olympic moment.
Yeah, greatest Winter Olympic. I think it's number 2 for the Australian identity of Olympics, because it's
Kathy Freeman
I was going to say
well,
Kathy
Freeman's number
probably,
1,
yeah.
and not just the racial component and the women component, but also she was
It's like in Australia too at the time
Yeah.
of the millennia, so it's like kind of awesome.
In
in
that race
Australia.
suit as well, it was sick.
and also, not that Stephen Bradbury didn't win on merit, but no one fell over, no one had a tragic mistake.
Yeah.
She
won completely on her own merit, and that was just such a awesome moment when you're at home.
Because
Yeah.
like how we're doing our rankings, I feel like you do have to give an extra a bit for like extreme sporting achievement, which obviously he won. But it's like anything that won wasn't automatically the best. Like we were a bit more critical with it. So yeah, I feel like it's not the best one, but it's definitely up there because what a story.
Well, let's see where it ranks on our wild and mild board when we come back from a little break. Welcome back to Wild World of Sport. This is your first time listening. This is the part of the show where we use our brains and our vibes to rank the story we just heard on our very scientific To All My Friends Wild and Mild ranking board. For people that have jumped over from season 1 and are now on season 2, thank you. Would have heard our re-ranking where we did use a real proper scientific metric. We will still be doing that once again at the end of the season. We're just going to go purely off vibes and see where it all comes out in the wash at the end of the season. But in our heads, we're going to know that these are the metrics we're going to be talking about. So this season's probably a little bit more scientific.
And we're following the same kind of rule that once something's placed, you can't then just completely move it. You can put stories above, below, but that stays in that spot. It can't then be taken off and moved somewhere completely different on the board.
All right, my initial thought, just to be silly, bang on halfway. Let's just get the first one bang on halfway. But
I think it has to be higher than that.
Higher than that?
I think. But
I don't know,
as well, on the first one, it can then just constantly be moved up if every story's below it. But I think it's pretty wild. The first Southern Hemisphere gold medal, first Australian gold medal at the Winter Olympics. And the manner of it, and the, comeback player of the year. I think it's pretty wild. You have a 1 in, let's even say 1,000 chance that everyone else falls over. That happens twice. It's a 1 in a million that happens. You go, this 1 in a million happened at the Olympics, which only ever happens every 4 years, and had to happen in your races, and you had to be the one to go on. Even if you factor out variables, it's a once in a lifetime occurrence. I don't think we'll ever see another.
Well, and to be so
Steven Bradbury.
unfortunate as well, like with the things that happened to him, and effectively he was a world champion. Like he was a world champion. They won a world championship, but they just didn't win the Olympics until he won it in 2002. So it's like it's incredible that through such adversity and everything, he was able to achieve what he did.
And I think he should
think it is
also
pretty
get
wild.
points for being a trailblazer.
Yeah,
He is a key member, or a key, not instigator, that's not the quite right word, but a key force in the promotion of speed skating in Australia, and to some extent globally, by having more of an international scene for it.
I feel like it does lose a few points in some ways because, like with our metric, if you remember the rubric from our last episode where we re-ranked everything, sporting achievement for this one, you might say, oh, well, it was a bit of a fluke, so it loses some points. But I think as well that just the sheer, consistency, effort that he put in, that is like a sporting achievement. Like it's incredible that he was able to go to the Olympics, qualify, and win the gold medal. I know it was a fluke, but it's like he had to get there somehow, and to do it through after like almost dying, like being impaled and everything, and fighting through that and still competing is pretty incredible.
The dedication is, I wouldn't say that level of dedication isn't wild.
I'm feeling on the
But it's
wilder
very-
side.
Very impressive.
But I like middle too, because
Well,
I did pick the story thinking it would be a nice benchmark.
I was sort of taking the Mickey, saying let's just put it in the middle because, like, it's just the first one. Let's just get it near the middle somewhere.
Let's put it on the top of the
I
board.
think it's a
Yeah.
good benchmark though.
I think like sort of 60% of the way up the board, 65, 70, like 7 out of 10 story.
Mate, we could do like pin the tail on the donkey. We'll just get Ben close his eyes and walk up to the board and
Or from where you are, throw it at the board.
Yeah, let's do that.
yeah.
Have a toss, Carlin.
Let's see what happens. Can I even get it?
Hey,
That's pretty.
Just angle it so
from the
it's, you know,
highest point. From the highest point,
There we
Okay,
are. That's deserving.
just slightly above halfway.
He fluked his way into just above halfway from my toss.
It would have been
Outfit.
really funny if this was like the 3rd or 4th or 5th story, and we did this, and then it knocked off all the other ones, and he was the top of the board.
He deserves to be.
Well, there we go. First story of the season. Steven Bradbury on our Wild and Mild board.
Australian icon, global sensation.
And
Is he on
Icon
a
of-
coin?
no,
Surely he's on a coin.
the
Should be.
rule about coins is that you have to be deceased to get on a coin, but it's like
We can make
loosely a
that.
role. There's a lot. Whoa.
Tourette's.
I don't know. This guy's like got impaled, broken his neck, and he's still going.
Okay, no, that's not true because Bluey's on a coin.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's not real. Look, the rules are very
Yeah.
vague on it. The rules are very vague on it. But apparently you have to be dead.
he's on
I
a
think,
stamp at least then.
I think he might be. Let us know if he's on a stamp. If you know, if you've got the stamp at Wild World of Sport Pod, make sure you check out all the videos coming out. Give it a like, give it a follow, give it a subscribe. And on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else that you listen to, drop a, what do we say? How many stars?
Well, it's 5 minimum. Like, why would they put a scale of 5 if you weren't meant to go to 5?
Yeah, I mean, that's why you buy a case of beer and it's got 24. Why would they put 24 in it if you weren't supposed to drink them all in one podcast record?
That is true. Why do they fit them in such easy to carry packages if I wasn't meant to enjoy it all in one sitting?
And thank you to all my friends bar in Cook. If you're in Canberra, come and check them out, Cook Shops. If you're not in Canberra, come and check them out at Cook Shops. If you're out of the country of Australia, well, everyone comes to visit Australia eventually.
And everyone comes to visit Cook Shops.
And when you're there, to all my friends, thank you for joining us on this journey. We'll be back next week, changing it up a little bit. I'm going to be telling the story, taking Ben's spot. So let's see if that throws everything off. We're in different seats.
Didn't throw it off when Zoe or Felix came on. I feel it'll be all right.
Yeah, they did well. We might have them back as well this season. You'll just have to stay tuned to find out.
Felix really pushing his luck. He still hasn't listened to even his episode.
I've been James Wybrow.
James's brother Ben, no relation.
I've been Dad Bradbury.
You were sitting on that one. That's a great one. All right, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Ciao.
I don't know why I was so out of breath for that. Whew.
The story just takes your breath away.
Yeah,
Do I start or do we
I think that's it.
sign off?
No Google Plus.
No, I think that can die in season 1. We need to come up with a new bit
Okay.
for season 2.
Yeah.